Hi everyone. I'm really pleased that you are here to listen to a podcast I did with Ernie, who is a relationship trainer and therapist. What we have done is combine a recorded podcast with a partial webinar, and towards the end you get to go through 2 quizzes on love and relationships, so you can see what you have gained from this event. It is also to make it somewhat more interactive for you. Today's event will go for 45 minutes or thereabouts. Also, go grab a pen and paper so you can do the quizzes and you'll get your results straight away after the quizzes play. I have asked to speak with Ernie because in addition to my usual videos, I felt it worthwhile for you to gain some extra valuable information on love and relationships from the get-go, which you can put into practice. After attending this event, you may even start to see improvements in your own relationship beginning today. Today's event is for singles, looking for a partner, or for those who have attended counseling without success or haven't been, and are simply unhappy and may be close to the point of calling it quits. We ask that you hold off on that until at least listening to this podcast today. Ernie's information changed my relationship from the onset all the way to the end of his programs because what he does really well is get into who we truly are, what we all want, what we are missing, and how to go about getting that in our intimate relationships. If you just wanna stop arguing, for example, what you may end up with is a best friend. What we will be sharing with you over the next few days is how to also get your lover back. Some couples decide to have a baby thinking this will rekindle their romance, only to find that it instead adds to the already existing pressures of daily life and makes them even more distant. If you have been living an empty life, this information is hopefully the start of changing that. Unless you are madly in love with someone, you know what emptiness feels like. So sit back and if you like, take notes and enjoy. For those of you who came in late or couldn't stay to the end, there will be replays so you may be able to watch it again later. Please stay and like this video as it and others that follow will be ones you refer to time and time again throughout your life. Let's start. Hi Ernie. Thank you for being here with us, and I just wanna say as well that it's great to finally be able to speak with you. How are you doing?
Hi Shahida, it is my pleasure and I'm doing great, thanks.
Okay. Alright, so before we get into the chat today, I believe you want to share a 20-minute webinar with us called Awaken Their Passion, Secrets of Successful Relationships. I have heard your voice, and this isn't done by you, is it?
That's right, the webinar goes for about 20 minutes. I use the same professional voice maker, Petar Brankovic, that I used in my 4 programs, as he has a top-notch studio with all the right equipment and has an easy-to-listen-to voice. So let me play for everyone currently watching.
Hi, and welcome to Awaken Their Passion, Secrets of Great Relationships. My name is Ernie, and I teach the programs Awaken His Passion and Awaken Her Passion. I would like to thank you for your time, as time is such a scarce resource these days for so many people. Yet we all had 24 hours yesterday, regardless if you are a CEO of a company, the president of a country, a housewife, an employee, or whoever. Since we do not have more time, I wish to help you gain more from the relationship you are in while you're here. It is normal and natural to be more in love with your partner 10, 20, 30 years later than to not be. I personally believe having and being in a healthy, loving, passionate relationship is a normal and natural condition. It is a question of how. Desire, hope, wishful thinking, horoscopes, or luck are not enough. By learning about having a successful relationship, you will also learn how to take control of your own life. If you don't take control of your life, somebody else will, be it a parent, partner, neighbor, or the government. As we start this introductory lesson, I want you to know what our society considers an expert to be. Usually a person goes to university and studies counseling or psychology, and after about 4 years of study, are in theory supposedly qualified to assist with marriage or relationship issues. It takes an electrician these days 4 years to become qualified. It takes a surgeon approximately 10 years. So what is wrong with someone with the apparent knowledge to be able to help in terms of marriage guidance? From my own perspective, it comes down to one word: experience. What is a 22 or 23-year-old going to know about helping me save my marriage of 20 to 30 years that I already don't know? I once heard of a story of a woman who was seeing a counselor for 2 years because she was self-employed and gave birth to twins and had a hard time finding balance between the two, only to find out that the counselor herself gave up her own children for adoption for the same reasons. There are many people out there in the coaching or professional careers who claim to be experts, and upon closer examination, they are not what I consider to be the best role models. Would we ask an overweight person on how to be fit and healthy? Would we ask a homeless person on how to purchase a house and become financially independent? Obviously, the answers are no. I have a degree in metaphysics and am an ordained minister. I am currently doing my master's in metaphysics with a view to continue with my PhD in holistic counseling and later my PhD in relationship dynamics. I am certified in neuro-linguistic programming or NLP, hypnotherapy, and timeline therapy. I have diplomas in life coaching as well as counseling. I also have my advanced certificate in emotional freedom techniques, EFT, and the list goes on. Please visit my website at www.everlasttherapies.com/about us for more information. Yet, none of that matters. What matters is, yes, I upfront and openly admit I have been divorced and only once. That was many years ago, and several years ago I found my special partner. We have gone through enough in that time that it feels like it's been 40 years. We all go through grief, pain, disappointment, as well as loving times. My partner and I have gone through major health issues, parent issues, financial issues, etc. At the same time, we both have had the best memories. And thankfully, there are more of those than negative ones. As I teach in my programs, if you have a whole list of negative memories, one of the best ways to override that is to start creating a whole list of positive ones. To be in and have a happy, loving, and successful relationship is not based on luck. It takes effort, determination, and commitment. There is nothing in my programs that I ask you to do that I haven't done myself. I come to you from not only my own positive results, yet also from past previous students and couples that I have interviewed. For the study, couples interviewed were married for 10 to 50 years and still had love and passion for each other. I provide you with information in plain, simple English and not in some psychobabble language which you would not understand, or use some useless philosophical constructs which have no benefit. You may find it interesting that the average couple talk for about 30 minutes a week. That is approximately 4 minutes a day. If I were to ask you, what could anyone achieve with 4 minutes focus a day? One could not become fit or healthy. No one would be able to become wealthy. If I asked you, hey, with no one around, with your promotion at work, was it because you were lucky? Answer me honestly. You would probably respond with, are you kidding me? I worked my butt off to get this job. I spent so many additional hours studying and extra hours at the office. I earned it. Why do we think it is different for a relationship? Unfortunately, many people leave their relationship last and wonder why later on their partner is having an affair or not there emotionally for them. One of the reasons why we fell in love was because of the time you spent together. You will learn the tools and know what to say and do and see results. Both you and your partner start a chain reaction. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars in therapy. You just need good quality knowledge and information that I give in your programs and you apply it. There is no psychobabble or philosophical constructs, just good down-to-earth information which you can use straight away. With my information, you will have the knowledge to help friends and family in their relationships because you will become extremely well educated. The reason why men fall in love is because of the way he feels about himself when he is with his partner. Oftentimes men say, when I'm with this woman, I feel like I'm a king. He feels more confident, sexier, and capable. He feels more like a man. The reason why women fall in love is because of how she feels about herself when she is with her partner. Many times a woman will say, I feel prettier, sexier, more worthy, or important. This is what an affair is all about. It is when one partner does not feel good about themselves, so they go searching for someone who fills that need. It is not that they are in love with the other person. They are in love with how they feel when they are around this new person. So if you want to fight fire with fire, it is up to you to start making your partner feel good about themselves when they are in your presence. It is as simple as that. I cannot make it any simpler. One of the ways you made each other feel good in the beginning is by spending time together. You went out on dates, spoke on the phone, stayed up all night, and were dead the next day at work, yet had such a wonderful time with each other. You joked, laughed, kissed, touched, listened, and shared. You did it all. Now let's compare a few years later. You have children, wake up in the morning, make and have breakfast, Take the kids to school, go to work which you hate. Finish work to start cooking at home, take the children to soccer, karate, etc. Have dinner, help the kids with their homework, and by the end of it, you are absolutely exhausted. One of you wants to make love, and your partner is thinking, "Are you joking? I'm exhausted." And this happens nearly every day of the year. Then you go on holidays with the children, they argue between each other, you argue with your partner. By the end of it, you need a holiday to get over the holiday. Go back to your early days together and do what you did then. Spend time together alone, talk, touch, go out, share, and make each other feel good about each other. With this alone, you can save thousands of dollars and months in counseling or therapy. Here are some helpful ideas for you to use. Lack of time is one of the biggest excuses people make as to why they are not in a loving relationship. I use the word excuse because if it were important enough to you, one would find the time and make it a priority. To get over the time factor excuse, as soon as your partner walks through the door upon arriving home and before the dog or kids get to them, you ought to give them a 10-second kiss and a 20-second hug. The dog and kids can do it after you. This sets off endorphins for good feelings to arise, as well as it sets the tone for the remainder of the evening. It creates a connection. If you come home and find your partner on the phone going through the mail or doing anything other than greeting you physically, I can bet you will be arguing 20 minutes later and not even know why. I can tell you why. It is because you ignored them and didn't connect. Remember what I said about why people fall in love? It's about making another human being feel good about themselves. So, you have to put them and your relationship first. The best thing you can give yourself is a loving relationship with your partner. It is absolutely exhausting being in a terrible relationship. The healthiest children come from a home where mom and dad love each other. They are more socially comfortable, mentally and emotionally healthy, flexible and adaptable. Date night, once a week, alone, no children or friends, can be over a coffee if finances are tight, as long as there are minimum time constraints so you can enjoy each other's company and connect. Every 3 months, go away for a weekend, again alone with no children or friends. Stay overnight at a hotel. Some couples call it a mini-moon. I heard of a couple with 10 children, so to save costs, they sent the kids to a hotel who loved it because it had a pool, spa, and gym, while the couple made love in every room in the house. Once a year, go on a 1-week-long vacation, and once more without the kids. It takes 2 to 3 days to reconnect with your partner because of how busy life can get. This doesn't happen if you have your children with you. If that means 1 week you two together and the second week with the parents, that's fine. Just ensure you have a minimum of 1 week alone time with your partner. I heard of a story of a woman who went on a cruise and she overheard a mother yelling in the background to her children, "There is no McDonald's in the middle of the Caribbean." Use this time to become lovers again and reconnect. By the 3rd day, you'll forget you even have children. If you do not do these things, you're looking for trouble in your relationship at some time in the future. Obviously, it is your choice, and please consider this. Either you pay now or you pay later. You either pay $150 for a hotel stay, or you'll spend thousands of dollars in solicitor costs. You either buy flowers for your wife, if that is what she wants, or pay the price of having a cold, disinterested, and disconnected wife. The time to do things is now. Let us now talk about energy. Many couples say they don't have the energy to devote to the relationship. One secret about energy is that it's mostly psychological and not so much physical. Imagine you've just gone to bed, and an hour later while you're sleeping, an old friend who you haven't seen in years knocks on your door and wakes you up. Out of excitement, you stay up a few more hours as you two exchange what is news and happy pastimes, etc. You think, "I'll catch up on sleep tomorrow," etc. What was once us being exhausted is now us wide awake and excited. And on the other hand, what message do we give our partner? "Oh, it's just you." I have given to everyone else today. Just with how you give to your friends, jobs, children, parents, because you don't want them to die. You have to say and think to yourself, "Well, I don't want my marriage or relationship to die." People oftentimes give more to strangers than what they do to their partners, and then wonder why they are not wanting to make love with them later on. We give strangers what they need, yet we are generally too tired to give our partners what they need. Instead, the message we need to be sending to our partner is, "You are the most important person in the world to me, and you take priority." Now let us look at a very important saying which goes into one of the differences between men and women. Sex gets better with love. Love gets better with sex. A woman needs emotional fulfillment to respond to a man sexually. A man needs sexual fulfillment to respond to a woman emotionally. The old phrase, the way to a man's heart was through his stomach, is wrong. No man ever left his partner for another woman because she cooked a better dinner. A man needs to feel masculine, strong, and worthy. For a woman to feel feminine, she needs kindness, emotion, caring, patience, and understanding. Her emotional fulfillment starts with if you say, I love you in the morning, whether you ring her at work and ask if she needs anything on the way home, if you take her out to dinner, help with the housework, etc. It is about doing anything to make her life easier and making her feel special, important, and needed. When it comes to our personality traits and needs, we are not right or wrong. We are simply different. And more often than not, this is where our problems lie. If we give what our partner needs, we receive what we need in return. And because of these differences is why I have two different programs. One for women, where I teach about men, what they want and how to fulfill them, and the other for men, where I teach them about women, what they want and how to emotionally fulfill them. Generally, when couples are having troubles in their relationship, they reach a stalemate. One says, why should I start as I've given so much, while the other has a similar response. Ultimately, for things to change, one needs to take the initiative. One of them needs to start if there is to be a reaction. Let's look at a few more differences. Another difference between men and women is the fact that after an argument, a woman needs to hear the words, I'm sorry, and that you mean it, while the man generally wants to make love. How often have you guys wanted to make love with your partner after an argument? And what she is thinking is, are you kidding me? We've just argued, and you want to be intimate with me? You guys haven't apologized and been forgiven yet. Another difference is men are visual and women are psychological. This is why men love seeing their partner wear lingerie, etc. Women love to hear nice things about them. After intimacy, a man wants to sleep, whereas a woman awakens and wants to talk. For men, this desire for sleep is hormonal and lasts for about 45 seconds. And if you can keep him awake for that time, he'll stay awake. Another thing, men want to make love in the morning when their hormone levels are at their highest. Women prefer to make love in the evening when their hormones are at their peak. How many of you can relate that a man reacts sexually immediately while it takes a woman 45 to 60 minutes to feel aroused? A man is like a bunch of dry leaves and a woman is like charcoal. When you make love to a woman, it takes her time. So what do we do about these differences? You don't take it personally. This is why you won't need counseling, because with my programs, you'll see things a lot more objectively. You will see things from your point of view and also more clearly from your partner's, and have that greater level of understanding and wisdom which you'll gain from experience. The way to win this game of differences and get the best results is by compromise. Yet, you first need to know what your partner wants and then give it to them. One of the worst things you can do is trade in your current partner for a new one, because we all have faults and virtues. I don't care who you can think of, everyone has some positive aspects as well as negative aspects to their personality and behavior. So if you are thinking about dropping your current partner for someone else, that someone else will just have a different set of faults and virtues. So you might as well stick with your current partner. Why women are more inhibited with intimacy than men? Private parts for men are given names, ding dong, willy, etc. For women, nothing. Once I heard a woman say she had a treasure box, yet even that suggests something deep, hidden, and buried. Men are generally much more comfortable with their bodies compared to women. It is up to the man to show his partner how to enjoy intimacy. Most often, one is the teacher and the other is the student. She will teach her man kindness, caring, tenderness, patience, and understanding. He will teach her how to enjoy her body and intimacy. Otherwise, they won't enjoy each other. Who of the men here hasn't asked, what does a woman want? Let me unravel the mystery in one sentence. A woman wants a man of steel and velvet. Someone who is strong as a rock and yet as soft as drifting snow. Let's have a look at some of these different qualities. Steel. Being able to make decisions. Logical, dependable, confident, knowledgeable, solves problems. Velvet. Kind, caring, romantic, understanding, listens, gentle. This provides a sexually and emotionally fulfilling relationship. Finally, we will now cover one of the main things I hear from people about this information, and that is, I don't feel it. My response is, if you don't feel it, act as if you do. How many actors and actresses fell in love while filming a movie and for it to be all pretend in the beginning? In sales, they teach, act as if you are successful, and over time, you will become successful. Teachers do it with their students about being able to teach. Parents do it with their children about being able to parent. Group speakers do it as they talk. We all at times act as if. So if you are not feeling all that loving towards your partner, act as if. How would you behave and what would you say if your partner was the most gorgeous, best, wonderful person and lover in the whole world? Maybe you felt that way in your early days. Go back to day one if you have to. If you do the 10-second kiss and 20-second hug, talk for half an hour every day, go on date nights, and the other things I have suggested, you'll be saving thousands of dollars in counseling or from seeing a psychologist. You can either spend $150 going to a counselor or spend the same amount on a weekend away and having a romantic time getting close, having fun, and being lovers again. In about 24 hours, with me, you as a couple will be happy, loving, madly in love, communicating, reconnected, having fun, being romantic, etc. With a counselor, you'll be grumpy, unhappy, whinge, bitch, and grumble. It is in the knowledge and in the doing that makes the difference. It comes from couples who are happily and passionately in love many years after their wedding. One thing I would like to add is, schedule intimacy on your calendar. What else is a honeymoon bar a week full of planned intimacy? Intimacy is seldom spontaneous anyway. We put everything else on the calendar except the person we love. There is a concept that had been argued throughout history, and it is my belief that opposites attract. I'm not talking about your political or religious beliefs. I'm talking about your basic personality style. As an example, if you are spontaneous, your partner is probably cautious. If you spend money easily, your partner is probably a saver. If you are neat and tidy, they are probably a slob and quite messy. To have a more complete picture, we need someone who is our opposite. Let us now define spontaneity. It is the amount of time it takes to react to a thought. Have you noticed how spontaneous children are? They get an idea, and before you can blink, they're off doing it. You will learn how to increase your spontaneity in your relationship in my programs. So here is your assignment. The first opportunity that you have, stay overnight at a hotel. Be lovers again, and do it purely for pleasure. Inside every man, there is a boy who wants to come out and play. And the same for women. There is a girl who wants to come out and play. Give yourselves and each other permission for them to come out. Ultimately, I want you to go and create a memory. Unfortunately, and in rare and unique circumstances, my programs are insufficient on their own as either one or both partners may require therapy. If this is your situation, I also assist clients who feel the need for therapy, be it for trauma, abandonment, grief, abuse, addictions, or whatever the situation may be. As stated earlier in this lesson, I'm certified in NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy. I also have my advanced certificate in EFT, and the list goes on. I have also independently and personally worked with clients and obtained fantastic results who have suffered depression, anxiety, strokes, traumatic brain injury, arthritis, epilepsy, headaches, asthma, physical pain, ulcers, anger, sadness, emotional hurts, and again, the list goes on. I provide a 6-week program taking into effect that both you and your partner are mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually healthy and do not require therapy, and that you have played out full ball during the workshop. If you know of anyone about to get married or who recently got married, feel free to pass my information on to them. If you are a graduate of my program, you will know the value they hold. Once again, I would like to thank you for being with me in this introductory lesson. If I don't see you in one of my programs, I wish you, your partner, and relationship all the very best. I trust to see you there.
That was really informative. Thanks for sharing that with us. I have some questions for you that our audience may be interested in knowing the answers, so okay, I'll just jump right in. Okay. Tell us a little about yourself.
I was born and live in Sydney. I got married at 23 and divorced some 7 years later. In that time, I entered personal development. Even with what I learned in them, it didn't help me in my marriage. Now, knowing what I know, and admittedly, even on my wedding day, I knew that I was making a mistake. That I was marrying the wrong person, basically. My ex-wife and I, we are good friends, yet we're just not a good husband and wife team. I remarried many years later with someone who we're a great team, fit together and madly in love with each other.
What got you started?
I got started during my first marriage as relationships is part of personal development studies. As the years passed, I realized that even those teachers had been divorced 3, 4, 5 times. I really wanted to know from those who had been married once to their partner, still had love and passion many years later, and didn't go through a divorce. I started speaking with couples that had that, and I also eventually found a great teacher who fitted that category. I discovered the same principles repeatedly. I applied those to my current wife, and we are so much in love with each other.
So how are your programs different from going to a counselor?
Most counsellors provide non-directive counselling, which means they just listen without judgment. They may provide feedback or ask questions along the way. With this technique, though, couples learn very little, hence having little if any progress, and thus often feel agitated, unhappy, sad, disillusioned, and become more resentful towards their partner as they are not getting the results they want. It is also part of the reason why it takes so long to get results, if any. I have read that there is as high as an 80% failure rate using marriage counsellors, which to me is huge. That's not a good way to go. I teach couples exactly what they need to know, the why and how. I teach couples exactly what to say and what to do. The difference comes from the knowing and the doing. At the end of each lesson with my programs, you get your homework for that week to put into practice what you just learned, and many times it's quite fun. And it is my experience with a lot of couples that many times it isn't so much what partners do, it's rather what they don't do that makes the difference. I'll give one quick example. I know someone in Europe who never ever tells his wife that he loves her. You may think, well, this is not part of her love language, yet some things still need to be verbalized and for them to come out of our mouth. With my wife, on the other hand, even though she lives overseas while I'm here in Australia, whenever and however we communicate, I tell her at least 3 times a day that I love her. In addition to that, I offer therapy for those who have, and in layman's terms, so much emotional baggage that prevents them from following through on their homework assignments. Plus, I also work on physical issues that most couples wouldn't even think that there is any help for, such as snoring, excessive body heat, blanket hogging, or where one partner twists and turns in bed preventing the other from falling asleep. Also, things such as erectile dysfunction and a whole host of other issues that affect people's relationships and intimacy can be helped with therapy. No relationship program that I'm aware of offers therapy as a way of bringing the couple in a relationship to where they could be.
Right. And who do you think would be interested in your programs?
I think there are 5 main types of people that would be interested in my programs. Firstly, those who are already happy in their relationship and want to keep it that way. My programs are like an insurance and an assurance in that respect. Secondly, those who are angry or hurting from past relationships. Socrates said, I think it was about 2,000 years ago, that a life that is not examined is not worth living. You will learn and use different information. This then yields to different behaviours, and obviously different behaviours produces different results. Thirdly, those who may be on the brink of getting divorced and they've just had enough. I say to those couples, don't you dare get a divorce before going through my programs. If these couples had loving feelings towards each other before, my programs would assist them in coming back. And although love isn't enough on its own, they will also learn and then apply the new knowledge on fulfilling each other's needs in such a way that the relationship is whole. Next, we have people who are single or looking for a partner, and with my program, they will be fully equipped in having the knowledge and know-how on how to have a relationship and make sure that it's going to be lasting and fulfilling. And finally, people who need therapy. As mentioned, there are issues which training is not sufficient on its own, with some examples being snoring, blanket hogging, physical pain, trauma, grief, and the list goes on. My ex-wife, as one prime example of where therapy could have been applied, had I known the techniques back then, grinds her teeth while sleeping. The only thing doctors could recommend were mouth guards. My point being is, there are many issues for which people do not even know and even less consider there is help for, and hence don't even go seeking solutions.
Okay. So what are the main issues that people have in relationships?
Three things. Namely, couples do not know the differences between men and women. Men want women to be more like men, and women want men to be more like women. What I teach is how we need our opposite. Once we know, accept, and appreciate our differences, then love can begin to flow. Another thing is communication. The average couple talks for about 4 minutes a day. Nothing of any quality can be built on 4 minutes a day. People focus on their jobs, their children, their mortgage, their car, and they leave their relationship until last. And then they wonder why their partner isn't there for them many years later. It's because either they have physically or emotionally left. They're out there having an affair or not talking and being strangers to each other. I teach my students, if you do not have a love affair with your partner, then somebody else will. And I teach you how to replace somebody else and let it be you. And I give you a lot of examples, real life examples.
Fair enough. Since there are so many relationship programs out there, how are yours different or better from other ones?
I teach students about what life is about. Long-term relationships cover the whole life spectrum ranging from birth to death. Most couples will have children, so parenting is important. And I teach what children need to grow up healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. As we get to the ages of 30, 40, 50 or older, most of us will have experienced the death of a close friend or a relative. I talk about real life and provide real life stories, including some of my own. I teach practical, down-to-earth information that students can use straight away. I provide real examples, not some theory out of a textbook. Because they're real, some of those stories are extremely touching, whereas others, chances are you'll laugh hysterically. I don't just say be more loving, be more caring, be more romantic. I teach you precisely what to say and what to do with heaps of real life examples, so you are never left in the dark, not knowing or guessing what I meant by something. Also, mine are the only ones that I personally am aware of that provide separate programs for both men and women. And finally, it doesn't matter how good a training or coaching program is, because there are literally hundreds out there or coaching programs. As I've said, mine is a training program that teaches you the how to, yet on the same token, many relationships need therapy. No training program will help you resolve back pain or snoring or trauma or grief. Many couples require both training and therapy. With me, you get both. You get to know how, as well as the release or resolution of issues that prevent you from having the love, passion, fun, intimacy, excitement and joy that people yearn for so deeply inside. And finally, I offer the lifetime support for both the training and the therapy. This means if your partner, for example's sake, and I'm not saying I wish this to happen, please understand me, passes away. I'm just saying, again, we're talking about real life. Things happen. So if someone passes away in a few years' time and you're having a hard time coping, because you are a graduate of my program, you get your therapy sessions at the discounted rates. Or let's say one of you loses their job and goes through a hard time emotionally, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years later. Again, you may use my therapy sessions at the discounted rates. There is no time frame or limit on the number of sessions you can use.
Right. There is something I was thinking about now, training and therapy. These can be really expensive, like literally run into the thousands of dollars. Why are your programs so cheap?
Relationships need to be the most important thing and number one priority for everybody. And because of that, I want to reach as many couples as possible and to the point where they get the results that they want. I admit there are some relationships out there that are better off being discarded, yet, in my opinion, people give up way too early and easily. I wanted a way for couples to get the best of both worlds, as I have never seen a counsellor do any training or therapy in a way I would personally call effective or efficient. And likewise with coaches out there. They do not offer therapy, which many couples often need, as we've already covered. And so I created a system that is not only affordable yet also value for money and with lifetime support as well.
What can people get from your programs?
Upon your first investment, you get to download 2 audio files which go for 30 to 45 minutes each. I have done it this way to make it easier to remember the information and digest it. You download your companion manual for that week, get access to your undergraduate Facebook group where you go to share, learn and discover other things. You will more than likely find your story is not that unique and that many other couples are having the same or similar issues. At the end of listening to the lesson for that week, you do your homework assignment, which is given at the end of the lesson. You continue this for 6 weeks. At the 6-week mark, you become a graduate where you receive a certificate of achievement, download an extra ebook called 101 Romantic Ideas and upgrade to your new graduate Facebook group where you get your lifetime support. If you require therapy, this is the time to book your session. All the links are given in the membership area. An extra lesson 7 is provided through a series of private YouTube videos with new and updated information and with more specific topics covered, and as a result, much shorter than the lesson themselves. This is, for most couples, not a program you listen to once and put it away. It is one where you'll refer to time and time again. Having said that, in summary, I teach couples how to fall in love, stay in love, and prevent divorce. For men, I teach them how to bring love, fun, excitement, communication, passion, and romance to the woman you love. For women, I teach them how to always have your man hopelessly, madly, and passionately in love with you. You get the know-how and the freedom to make it happen.
Okay, great. So if anyone tries your programs and for whatever reason feels that your program doesn't suit them, do you have any refund policies or protections or anything like that? Are there any safety nets for buyers of your programs?
Yes, we do. We've just recently expanded our offer from 7 to a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. You get to go through 2/3 of the program, and if for any reason you are not satisfied, simply ask for a refund. Payments are made via PayPal, so they're safe and secure in that respect.
Wonderful. Okay, so how would someone go about getting started?
All they need to do is click on the relevant link below. And please make sure you click on the right link and follow the instructions. Each week you'll be given access to that week's lesson materials where you download it and you do the same thing.
Great. And I know I'm delving into the realms of privacy with this one. What would you say is the hardest issue that a couple had that you have helped, or the couple with the greatest number of issues that you've worked with? Like, can you give us an example of the most difficult relationship scenario that you have successfully helped?
The hardest couple that I've worked with. I can think of 2 at the top of my head. The first one was a couple. She was 58 years old. He was around 60. For literally 50 years. So since the age of 8 years old, this lady had epilepsy, grand mal, which is where she shakes and falls to the ground about 3 times a week. She was taking about 12 tablets a day, so she was having a pretty hard life. She wasn't allowed to work because of that. She wasn't even allowed to go up escalators in a shopping centre in case she had a seizure and then fell down the stairs, so she had to walk or use lifts. She didn't even cook at home in case she had a seizure and she'd burn herself. So she was very limited in what she could do. Lovely woman, by the way. So what happened? I was working on different issues in the relationship, and as a side note, what happened was her seizures went down from 3 times a week to 1 seizure once every 3 weeks after 3 sessions. If my math is correct, that's about a 900% improvement. So that was quite an interesting thing that I've worked on. Another thing that I've worked on was a couple having a lot of different issues within the relationship. One of the biggest contributors that I found was that the wife was in a lot of physical pain because she had many medical issues. As a result of that, there were certain positions she was not able to get into during intimacy, which was affecting their relationship. And because of the techniques that I use, I worked on the pain, and the pain dropped dramatically to where they could now enjoy intimacy on a whole new level, which again was interesting. So I've worked on all sorts of weird, wonderful things. Things that basically people don't think that there's help for. We have already mentioned several of those. I've worked on ulcers, depression, traumatic brain injury, stress, anxiety, headaches, strokes, arthritis, and a whole host of issues. So yeah, people do have a lot of issues that the public don't know there is potential help for. Sometimes the issues can feel embarrassing to the individual, and hence not even their friends or family know about them.
Well, I wasn't expecting those answers. And on the other side of the coin, so to speak, what would be one of the funniest stories that you can share with us that you have heard from a couple using the information that they gained from your programs?
In regard to the funniest story, I'm going to give a personal one, which has not happened yet. It will be happening soon though, and that's when I go and surprise my missus overseas to let her know that I've moved there permanently. I have it all planned out. I'm going to go to her workplace with her boss's prior permission in a gorilla costume, which I have already purchased. Go to her desk and give her a bouquet of 101 roses and some other gifts. All this without a word being spoken. Then I'm going to play and dance to the song Do You Love Me from the movie Dirty Dancing, as it'll look funny to see a gorilla dance to it. A friend of mine who drives a taxi will be filming this and then take us home early, to which her boss has previously approved, and drop her things off and then go for a coffee. My anticipation is she will go through four main emotions, being initially the shock of seeing someone in a gorilla costume, as this is not usually done in this part of Europe because they are a bit more reserved. Then happy from receiving the gifts. Then she'll hopefully have a great laugh at me dancing to the song in a gorilla outfit. And finally, the realization that I have arrived and am there permanently to be with her. It'll be one of our most important dates ever, and I can't wait to see her reaction.
We have covered the vast majority of couples so far, I think. And for the minority of couples, whom would your programs not be of benefit?
Anyone who has or is with a partner with addiction challenges, this program would not be suitable. If you're with someone who's having addiction issues, such as illicit drugs or alcohol, then they are best of attending a rehab clinic. Also, if someone has a mental disorder, for example bipolar disorder, or have been diagnosed as being associated with having narcissistic qualities, my programs also would not be a benefit. And I can tell you, you would not believe the number of couples I have read about in Facebook groups who knowingly enter relationships with someone who they know has issues and later state, "Oh, I have problems in my relationship." Well, really, no wonder. When you're with someone who is emotionally up and down from moment to moment and there's no stability and you can't feel comfortable or safe, you are going to have issues. If someone has narcissistic qualities or is a sociopath or psychopath, then let them get help first. And with those people generally, they will never do that because they blame everyone else and they don't have empathy or remorse. And when you start dating somebody, you want proof that they are emotionally and mentally healthy by dating them and observing their behavior under all sorts of life conditions before choosing to be with them. I think too many people enter relationships with someone they hardly know and later they find out that they're a paedophile or a murderer or a cross-dresser or whatever. They jump in your relationships way too quickly. And I suggest to people, take your time. Yes, life is short, I agree with that. Yet it's for your own benefit to get to know someone properly. Take your time and get to know someone and notice them through different life conditions. And love is not enough because you know why? Because 1 out of every 2 first marriages end in divorce, and these couples were in love in the beginning, and for second and third marriages, the divorce rate is even higher. So take your time, do your best to understand and get to know the person you are with.
Having listened to your programs, I noticed they are not in your own voice. Would you please elaborate on that?
Both my programs are created by a professional male voice maker. His name is Petar Brankovic, as mentioned before, with an Australian accent, and I just find his voice to be very clear and easy to listen to. And he also has a professional recording studio with the editing and recording equipment, which I don't. And so it is another man's voice, and I do give him credit in the first week's companion workbook as well as the end of lesson 6, so people do know that it's not me.
Oh, okay. How would someone go about getting in touch with you to see if your programs are in alignment with their needs and desires?
All you need to do is just click on the link provided below. And again, please ensure you click on the right link. There is a contact tab and I can be contacted via several different methods. It's very easy to contact me and I get back to you as soon as I can.
As a nice surprise, as mentioned previously, to find out how much our members have gained, we are actually going to play 2 quizzes. So if you would go get yourself a pen and paper, these quizzes only go on for a few minutes. That's awesome. You covered some really important points there, Ernie. Members, if you wish to share how you went in the quizzes in the comments section, that would be great. Unfortunately, our time is up and I want everyone to know if you've got any questions at all. If you want to get further information from Ernie, then you can click on the link below. Alright. We have arrived at the end of this podcast. Since you have been here already for about 45 minutes, if you are really ready to get the ball rolling by starting to solve some of the most important issues in your relationship, we have added some extra videos that are short, like 3 to 10 minutes in length, and very specific, which you likely will be able to relate to. Some examples being, how to minimize arguing, how to affair-proof your relationship, 22 tips on how to spot a romance scammer from a mile away, and a whole heap more. As Ernie just stated, now, for those of you who truly are wanting to not only solve your relationship issues, yet bring your lover back to a place where the relationship is full of fun and laughter, communication, excitement, passion, and romance, we are offering men and women the first half of Lesson 1 of both of Ernie's programs. Awaken His Passion, a program for women, and Awaken Her Passion, a program for men. Awaken Her Passion, the program for men is being premiered next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern European Time, and Awaken His Passion, the program for women, is being premiered next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern European Time. When you attend these, you'll find the dates at times for the showing of the second half of these lesson 1s. To check your time zone, we have added a link below. Make sure you hook up and attend the correct free event. If you are unavailable, they will be uploaded, so you may attend at another time. Both also last about 45 minutes. Is there anything else you want to add, Ernie?
Yes, there's one thing. The shorter videos available to you now are not part of the extra free Lesson 7 for graduates. Those private YouTube videos is a totally different set of videos. Just wanted to be clear on that. Apart from that, I believe we have covered everything else.
Once again, if you wish, click and explore some of our shorter videos, and we anticipate catching up with you all next Tuesday and Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern European Time. The link to check your time zone is added below. If you know of anyone going through relationship hardships, we ask you to share these videos with them as well. Those times again for next Tuesday's free exclusive access to the first half of Lesson 1 of Awaken Her Passion, a program for men at 5 p.m. Eastern European Time, and for Awaken His Passion, a program for women next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern European Time. Thanks very much for your time. Looking forwards to catching up then. Until next Tuesday and Wednesday.